After waking up with no memory, the first thing I did was scroll through my phone. My eyes caught a contact saved simply as boyfriend. Hesitantly, I tapped the number and dialed. "Hello," I asked, voice trembling. "Are you my boyfriend?" There was a long pause, then a lazy yet unmistakably attractive male voice answered, "Of course, baby." I blinked, confused. Only later, when my memories began to return, did I realize I'd mistaken my longtime crush for my boyfriend. Wait, wasn't he the one who hated people like me the most? I stared at the phone, my thumb hovering over the contact labeled boyfriend. After what felt like forever, I gathered my courage and called again. The phone rang twice before the voice came through. Slow, lazy, but undeniably affectionate. "Of course, baby." Relief washed over me. "So I really did have a boyfriend. Can you come pick me up at 4? I'm in Ward 1. The hospital," I added, feeling awkward. "Hospital?" he asked, surprise clear in his tone. I swallowed hard, embarrassed. "I hit my head earlier today and lost part of my memory. The doctor says there's nothing physically wrong with my brain, but they won't let me leave unless a family member picks me up. My parents are out of town, so you count as family, right?" Another pause, then his voice softened. "Don't worry, I'm on my way." Hearing those words finally calmed the storm raging in my head. Since arriving at the hospital, my thoughts were a mess. The doctor said the memory loss was stress and fear taking their toll. The most ridiculous part? Forgetting I even had a boyfriend. I had no idea what kind of person he was, but judging by his voice, he had to be at least decent looking. After all, I'm a shallow guy with a serious thing for good looks. Just then, the hospital room door swung open. A tall, slender young man dressed in black stepped inside. His features looked like a genetic jackpot. Sharp brows, deep eyes, and an air of effortless nobility. I froze. Wait, wasn't this William Ford, the campus heartthrob everyone talked about? Before I could think further, William strode toward me and scanned me from head to toe. His gaze was unreadable. Then, leaning in so close I could see the deep black of his pupils, he said softly, "What's with the stares? Look, baby." His voice matched perfectly with the one on the phone. So it really was him. Still, I wasn't convinced. "You?" I blinked. "You're my boyfriend? I might have lost my memory, but I remember your name is William Ford. You're a student at our school, and you're straight." William's expression didn't flicker. "I was straight," he said smoothly, "until I met you. Fell in love at first sight." He pulled out his phone, unlocking it. The wallpaper was a photo of me. "You made me set this as my lock screen," he said with a grin. "You threatened to throw a tantrum if I didn't." Wow, did I really have zero shame when it came to dating? I blinked, still in disbelief. "Sorry, I don't remember any of that." William reached out and ruffled my hair gently. "It's okay, as long as you're still by my side." His soft words made my cheeks burn. Instinctively, I leaned my head into his palm, like a small, harmless animal. William was exactly my type. Handsome, untouchable, the golden boy everyone admired. If only he'd spoken so gently before. For the first time since waking, my lost heart found something to hold on to. While William went to talk with the doctor, I stealthily opened my camera and snapped a picture of his back. If he had me as his lock screen, it was only fair I did the same. William was ridiculously photogenic. Any shot looked like a professional portrait. But as I was happily setting the new wallpaper, I stumbled on something shocking in my photo album. A huge collection of pictures. Every single one of William. Playing basketball, attending class, meeting friends. Oh God, was I a creepy stalker? Flustered, I bit my lip. My doubts about us faded a little just then when someone gently pinched my cheek. William's chuckle came softly. "What are you giggling about?" Blushing, I turned my phone to him. "William, my phone's full of pictures of you." He froze, eyes locked on the screen. His face darkened, unreadable. I thought he was mad about the bad angles and hurried. "Sorry, I'll delete them. Don't be mad." But before I could tap delete, his hand covered mine. "Stop. Keep them," he said, voice husky. "I don't want you to feel uncomfortable." I hesitated. "You don't get it," he whispered, deep eyes burning. "I had no idea you liked me this much. I think I might actually die of happiness, baby." For a moment I was stunned. Then my heart melted. William really liked me, and I really liked him. That warmth filled my little gay heart completely. So, like an obedient lamb, I let William take me back to school. When he dropped me off at my dorm, all my roommates were there. The one facing the door grinned when he saw me. "Shun, where did you disappear to today? You're usually such a good boy." His voice jumped several octaves when he spotted William behind me. "Holy damn, is that William Ford?" The others turned to stare, shocked beyond belief. It was like they couldn't even understand why William was here. I glanced at William, standing beside me. "Wait, my roommates don't know about us. It's normal for him to bring me back," I said flatly. "William's my boyfriend." Dead silence. Their expressions twisted into disbelief. "When did you get a boyfriend? When did you even turn gay? So William Ford is also..." Their expressions of disbelief made me realize something very wrong. Damn, they didn't know about my sexual orientation. That one sentence had blown my cover completely. I had effectively come out on the spot, all because of this damn memory loss. Feeling overwhelmed, I instinctively clenched my fist, only for a warm, steady hand to suddenly hold mine. Then William's voice rang out, calm and unhurried. "Sorry for the intrusion. I am indeed Sean's boyfriend. He was worried you guys might be homophobic or hate him, so he never told you. If you have any issues with it, you can take it up with me. Don't give him a hard time." His tone was polite, even carrying a hint of a smile. Yet it sent an inexplicable chill down my roommates' spines. Given William's background, his prestigious family, his top-tier academics, his overall godlike status, no one in the school dared to cross him. So even though his words weren't outright threatening, they were enough to send shivers down spines. The roommates immediately nodded like obedient puppies. "No, no problem. We were just a little surprised." "William, don't just stand at the door. Come in, it's cold out." William nodded politely and without hesitation, stepping inside like he owned the place. Seeing how composed he was, I forced myself to stay calm, too. Thank God William was here. Otherwise, I'd be a total mess. I found myself clinging to his presence even more, my gaze constantly following him. At that moment, Noah, who had been explaining my memory loss to the others, suddenly smirked at me, then reached out and pinched my cheek. Playful yet intimate, but his face remained perfectly serious. "If he ever feels, well, give me a call. I'll pick up no matter how late." The roommates nodded fervently in agreement. Soon it was time for William to leave. Just as I debated whether to walk him downstairs, he simply grabbed my wrist and pulled me out of the dorm, leaving behind a room full of gossip-hungry roommates. By the time we reached the male dormitory entrance, my ears were already burning. Luckily, there weren't many people around at this hour. "William, you should head back and get some rest," I said, trying to sound casual. William raised a brow, his voice laced with amusement. "Baby, what did you just call me?" I blinked. "William, that's not what you used to call me." I hesitated, suddenly feeling shy. "Sorry, I really forgot. Can you remind me?" William's lips curled into a smirk. "You used to call me hubby." "What?" I felt my soul leave my body. "Hubby, that's way too intimate, isn't it? We're both guys. How could I have been so shameless?" My lips parted and closed several times, but my pride refused to let me say it. Seeing my distress, William chuckled and mercifully let me off the hook. "Fine. You can call me something else if you prefer." My brain quickly cycled through possible nicknames before settling on one cautiously. I tried brother. The moment I said it, I saw William's expression darken. He muttered a low curse under his breath. Then he leaned in slightly, his voice slow and deliberate. "Sean, you're being very naughty." My breath hitched for a second, just a split second. I thought he was about to kiss me, but instead he simply ruffled my hair again. "Go back and rest. I'll pick you up for class tomorrow morning." I nodded obediently, my heart still racing. William spent another half a minute just petting my head before finally leaving as he turned and walked away. I hesitated, then instinctively glanced back at him. That's when I saw it. William was standing by the trash can, tossing something inside a sweat-dampened tissue. Wait, why was someone so composed as William nervous? Dreaming of a different William? Today had been a whirlwind. I lost my memory. I gained an unbelievably perfect boyfriend. I got forcibly outed in front of my roommates. It all happened way too fast. By the time I collapsed onto my bed, I barely had time to process it all before passing out. And then I dreamed of William. Only this wasn't the William from today. In my dream, he wasn't standing beside me. He was in the crowd, surrounded by people worshiping him like a star. Half of his face was hidden in the golden hues of the sunset. So stunningly beautiful it felt unreal. Beside me, Noah whispered excitedly, "Sean, see that guy? That's William Ford. He's a year above us. Top scorer on the national exams, filthy rich, and looks like a damn movie star. Seriously? Why do guys like him exist? How unfair can life be?" Noah sighed dramatically. I chuckled, wanting to say, "That's my boyfriend." But no words came out. I tried opening my mouth, but nothing. And before I could figure out why, William was already walking away, completely surrounded. He never once looked at me, distant, untouchable. So different from the gentle, affectionate William from today. My chest tightened. Why wasn't he paying attention to me? Desperate, I tried moving, but suddenly the scene shifted. I found myself in the library. William was at the counter trying to borrow a book, but he'd forgotten his library card. The librarian refused to budge. No card, no borrowing. As the tension escalated, I suddenly found myself stepping forward, offering my card. William paused, turning to me. He twirled my card between his fingers, then glanced at me. The corner of his eyes crinkled slightly. "Sean, thanks." I wanted to say, "No problem," but again no voice came out. Panicking, I whimpered, only to wake up. Was that a memory or just a dream? If it was real, then why was William so homophobic? And why is he my boyfriend now? Something wasn't right. These nagging thoughts weighed on me even in my sleep. They can be restless. When someone gently shook me awake, I was still in a daze. Noah poked me again. "Sean, your forehead is covered in sweat. You okay?" I took a couple of shallow breaths and shook my head. "I'm fine. Just groggy from sleep." "Good. Now get up. William's been waiting downstairs for ages." "William." I scrambled out of bed and rushed to the window. There he was, casually standing near a flower bed, looking like he walked straight out of a fashion editorial. His gaze was fixed on the entrance of the male dormitory. His expression relaxed, even pleased. Noah sighed with exaggerated admiration. "Sean, my dude, how the hell did a goody two-shoes like you snag a heartthrob like that? And he even brought you breakfast." Turns out gay relationships can be just as disgustingly sweet as straight ones. I bet half the girls on campus will cry into their pillows tonight out of sheer jealousy. I blinked. I don't remember, but he said he was the one who chased me. Noah's jaw dropped. "No way. If that's true, you could totally flex that on your resume." I let out an awkward chuckle but secretly felt relieved. So last night was just a dream. Dreams and reality are opposites, right? The unease in my chest slowly dissipated. I freshened up quickly and bolted downstairs. "William, sorry, I overslept." The moment William saw me, he straightened slightly. His tone was lazy, the end of his words dragging out easily. "You already forgot what we agreed on last night." I hesitated, pressing my lips together before mumbling softly, "Brother." William seemed satisfied. He lifted a hand as if to ruffle my hair but then hesitated. There were quite a few students passing by. Instead of ruffling my hair, he simply smoothed down a stray tuft. Polite yet restrained, intimate but not overstepping. Something about the distance between us stirred an inexplicable restlessness inside me. Before I could overthink it, I instinctively leaned forward, brushing against him. William froze for a second. "Getting bold, are you?" I knew exactly what he meant. He was worried that being too openly affectionate would cause trouble. Even though times were changing, our relationship was still considered unconventional. Feeling the curious stares around us, I locked eyes with him and spoke with quiet certainty. "I'm not afraid." Truthfully, I was terrified. I feared that the distant, indifferent William from my dream was real, that he was someone forever out of my reach. Only when I was physically close to him did I feel at ease. A campus celebrity couple. William walked me to my classroom before heading off to his own lecture. I watched his lazy, unbothered figure disappear down the hall before stepping inside. The moment I entered, it felt like a 1,000-watt spotlight was shining directly on me. Suppressing a cough, I quietly took my seat, clutching the breakfast William bought me immediately. Whispers filled the room. My name, William's name, the word gay being thrown around way too often. Yep, the rumor mill was working at full speed. Sipping my soy milk, I scrolled through the school gossip forum. As expected, our relationship was trending. While I was half distracted by the endless posts, a few classmates approached to check on me. "Why were you absent yesterday?" I had no clue who they were but replied politely, I wasn't feeling well then. I pretended not to notice the gossip-hungry glint in her eyes. Luckily, the professor arrived soon, silencing the chatter. But even throughout the class, I could feel sneaky glances in my direction. I ignored them. All I wanted was for class to end so I could see William. However, just as I was about to leave, a tall, broad-shouldered guy blocked my path. "Shun, since you're gay, why did you pretend to be pure and reject me?" At his words, the entire classroom fell silent. Students packing their bags suddenly slowed down. Those on their phones started furiously typing like they were live reporting the scandal. I stared blankly at the guy. Plain-looking, short neck, no memory of him whatsoever. He must not have been important because if he was this dumb and ridiculous, I would have remembered him even with memory loss. So I replied politely, "Who are you?" He stiffened, then his face twisted in rage. "Oh, I see. So now you're pretending not to know me, trying to climb up the social ladder by clinging to William's money. You have no shame at all." My politeness snapped. I set my bag down, ready to throw hands. But before I could act, a familiar lazy voice drifted from the classroom entrance. "I wish he was gold digging off me. What the hell does it have to do with you?" The guy who had been all high and mighty just moments ago immediately deflated like a balloon. He opened his mouth to argue, but seeing William's unreadable expression, he scurried away. I hurried after William, feeling a little anxious. Did he overhear that? Would he misunderstand? I lowered my gaze, about to explain when William cut me off. "You hungry? Come grab lunch with me, brother." I blinked, then smiled. "Okay, William." Believe me, he really was the best. Just as we stepped outside, a group of guys approached, grinning slyly. William, dreams really do come true. Thought the group chat was just messing around. One of them turned to me, smirking. "Hey Sean, we're William's dorm mates. He might act all chill, but trust me, dude's been obsessed with you since the library incident. Yeah man, he used to mutter your name in his sleep. Wanted to confess, but was too much of a coward." Another chimed in. "Every day he schemed about accidentally running into you. Classic lovesick fool." William scowled. "If you have nothing useful to say, get lost." All right, we're leaving. Have fun on your date." As they walked away, I smiled softly. So this was the real William? I tugged on his sleeve, hesitating before asking, "William, why didn't you just confess back then?" His hand smoothly shifted, intertwining our fingers. "I thought you were homophobic." Understanding dawned on me. So that's why he chose to admire from a fine distance. But in the end, we still ended up together. Ignoring the stares, both keen and judgmental, I happily snuggled closer to him. Our relationship continued, sweet and affectionate. The campus gossip eventually died down, replaced by the stress of final exams. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, people stopped talking about us. But as time passed, I started noticing something strange. William almost never initiated physical affection. At most, he'd hold my hand or pat my head. Even hugs were rare. Wasn't it normal for couples to at least kiss? Did he believe in some weird platonic love? But his eyes burned whenever he looked at me. He was not subtle at all. Yet he never acted on it. And I was too embarrassed to ask. It felt like he was subtly holding back, like he was giving himself and me a way out. What was he afraid of? The thought, not of me, kept me up at night. One evening, William brought me along to crash his roommate's birthday party. The lively atmosphere buzzed with young men laughing, drinking, and toasting each other. As expected, William was the center of attention, his presence effortlessly commanding every gaze in the room. Sitting beside him, I felt distracted, my thoughts drifting. Before I knew it, I had taken a sip of alcohol. Just one tiny sip, and my vision immediately spun. Turns out I'm a total lightweight. Feeling dizzy, I pressed a hand against my forehead and stayed silent. William quickly noticed something was off. "You drink," I hummed sluggishly in response. I vaguely heard William chuckle before he turned to his roommates and said something, making them all burst into laughter. After that, I felt myself being lifted out of someone's back. Their broad, strong frame radiated a familiar warmth and scent that made me feel safe. Sleepiness washed over me, and I drifted off. When I woke up, I was back in my dorm. The room was silent, no roommates in sight. Meanwhile, William was crouched in front of me, taking off my shoes. The position felt oddly intimate, making my already foggy brain even fuzzier. I instinctively called out to him. "William." He barely lifted his eyes. Even in my dazed state, I corrected myself out of habit. Brother. William's lips curled slightly. What's wrong? You feeling sick? I shook my head, voice barely above a whisper. No, I want to do something. He raised a brow and sat beside me, his deep eyes gleaming under the dim light. And what is that? His gaze was mesmerizing. I stared at him, feeling my eyes slowly wander down to his lips. There's a saying, alcohol gives cowards courage. So without overthinking, I blurted out my thoughts. I want to kiss you. Can I? The room instantly fell dead silent. William's gaze darkened, his eyes burning with intensity. Even my neck felt hot, but he didn't move. Thinking he was waiting for me to initiate, I leaned in closer, just as a long, slender finger pressed against my forehead, stopping me then. William's deep, husky voice whispered, "Shun. I can't because I'm already greedy enough." I blinked in confusion. What did that even mean? I wanted to ask, but before I could, the alcohol hit me again. I barely managed to let out a soft hum before passing out completely in my half-conscious state. I felt someone gently taking care of me. I sighed contentedly, turning over in my sleep. Having a boyfriend was so nice. Too bad I couldn't kiss him. A second memory loss. The next morning, I lay in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. Then slowly, I pulled the covers over my head and screamed silently. What the hell? What did I do last night? I actually tried to make a move on William, and not only that, I got rejected. The secondhand embarrassment was so intense. I wanted to book a one-way ticket to Mars. Once the shame subsided, a new feeling took over. Doubt. Why did William reject me? Was he messing with me this whole time? Had he been playing some long-winded joke? Feeling miserable, I got out of bed only to miss a step and fall. Crash. I hit the floor hard, slamming my head in the process. Damn. I sucked in a sharp breath, wincing. Great. The dorm was empty. I struggled to get up, but then my head started spinning. Suddenly, a flood of memories surged into my brain. Jumbled and chaotic, so chaotic that my vision went black. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. Noah was sitting beside me. Sean, finally, you scared the hell out of us. I blinked groggily. Noah, why am I in a hospital? You tell me. We pulled an all-nighter at an internet cafe, came back, and found you unconscious on the floor. Luckily, it's just a minor head injury. Your boyfriend's on his way. I froze. My what? Noah stared at me like I had grown a second head. Your boyfriend? William, campus heartthrob, our school's literal male god. Yesterday, you two were practically glued together during dinner. William Ford. He's my boyfriend. I sat there completely stunned. My headache intensified. Two sets of memories tangled together. I couldn't tell which was real and which was a dream. Just then, the hospital door burst open. A familiar figure rushed in. His brows furrowed, deep worry etched into his sharp features. William. The moment he saw me sitting there dazed, he let out a sigh. Then, without hesitation, he hugged me. His arms were firm, his scent fresh and comforting, completely scrambling my already messed up brain. I should have stayed with you last night, he murmured, voice low and regretful. Does it still hurt? Baby, baby? William, call me baby. My brain short-circuited. Noah grinned knowingly and stood up. I'll leave you two lovebirds alone. Oh, and William, Sean said something weird earlier. He forgot he even had a boyfriend. Then, with a final wink, Noah left. The moment the door clicked shut, the warmth and William's embrace vanished. He froze. Then slowly he pulled away, putting a polite distance between us. I glanced up at him. His normally confident face was filled with hesitation and regret. He looked nothing like his usual bold, carefree self. Then, in a rough, hesitant voice, he asked, Sean, did you remember? I swallowed hard. Mostly I remembered everything. I had always secretly crushed on William but never confessed, afraid that he was homophobic. So I saved his contact as boyfriend in my phone, just as a joke. Then I lost my memory, and I actually believed it. Somehow William went along with it. He didn't deny it. He didn't push me away. Instead, he spoiled me, called me baby, told me he liked me, even coaxed me into calling him brother. What kind of fever dream was this? I opened my mouth, wanting to confirm something, but before I could, William suddenly apologized. I'm sorry. His gaze was steady, unwavering. My lashes fluttered. It's fine. It's my fault too. Silence. Then William clicked his tongue in frustration. He leaned in again, his voice quieter, almost obsessive. Sean, can we still be together? I averted my gaze. I don't know, because I really did it before losing my memory. I loved him from afar. After losing it, I became his boyfriend. Now, knowing the truth, I need time to figure out what's real and decide if this is still the love I want. William must have noticed my hesitation. Unlike before, he no longer teased me endlessly, but his gaze remained blatantly intense and burning. After we returned to campus, he spoiled me relentlessly. Every morning he brought me breakfast. After class, he picked me up. I casually mentioned an internet-famous snack, and he spent half a day traveling across the city to buy it for me. When my shoelaces came undone while walking, he knelt down and tied them for me, completely unfazed. People stared. Meanwhile, my heart pounded. For some reason, I felt like a harmless herbivore, and he was the predator watching me, waiting to pounce. He didn't give me any room to escape. William's bold yet self-deprecating devotion reignited the campus gossip forum. Are they breaking up? Haven't seen them hold hands in a while. Breaking up, please. They're more clingy than ever. SOS? Who understands? My William has turned into a complete simp. Shun, when are you holding a masterclass on taming a campus god? I'll take notes on my knees. UGG just got hit by their PDA at Lover's Lake. Same. Sean's eyes were all red, looking so fragile. I nearly lost control and challenged William for his wife. That last comment was deleted within 5 seconds. William was the forum admin when Noah showed me the post. He couldn't help but ask, "So what's going on between you and William? People keep asking me if you two broke up." At that moment, I was staring at a text from William. My lips suddenly pressed into a thin line, betraying my mood. We didn't break up, I admitted. But we're not exactly dating either. Now he looked utterly confused. What did you guys fight about? I ended up telling him everything about my memory loss and what happened before and after. After hearing it all, Noah shook his head in amazement. Damn, William's got some real scheming skills. Then he added, but since you both like each other, does the process really matter? If I hesitated, then what does matter? The outcome? His words struck me. I had always thought love was about the journey, not the destination. But now that I knew William and I liked each other, why was I still holding back? Why waste time overthinking instead of just being happy together? The moment I made up my mind to have an honest talk with William, he invited me on a camping trip. The trip was with his roommates and close friends. They teased us nonstop the whole way, pretending to joke but clearly trying to push us together. I didn't mind their antics. Whenever I got too flustered, I would glance at William, and without fail, he would kick someone and tell them to shut up, which of course only made them tease more. By the time we reached the camping grounds, things escalated during a game of truth or dare. I drew a dare, and the guys grinned wickedly. Go into the forest with William for 10 minutes. This was basically like shoving two ambiguous people into a closet together. I pressed my lips together, stood up, and headed toward the woods behind me. Familiar footsteps followed. The forest at night was quiet and eerie. The only sources of light were the dim glow from the campsite and the moon. After walking far enough, I turned to face William. I was ready to talk to him, but before I could, he spoke first. Sean. I straightened slowly, turning to look at him in the dim lighting. His handsome features were softened in the shadows. What? There are some crazy bugs flying around like they're on steroids. Come here. I'm a guy. Why would I be afraid of bugs? I scoffed but still moved closer. Then my foot caught on a tree root. I stumbled forward, straight into William's arms. His familiar fresh scent enveloped me. I barely steadied myself before muttering a quick thanks. William's voice was playful. Words are boring. Show me some real gratitude. I instinctively pushed his chest. Where are you trying to do? I want to kiss you. I froze. I still remembered how he had flat out refused me before, so I deliberately teased him back. No. William didn't reply. He just stared at me, and just like that, my resolve crumbled. Then, just one kiss. I hesitantly lifted my head, ready to close the distance, but before our lips could touch, the ground shook violently. Tree branches snapped. Bugs and birds scattered in chaos from the campsite. Screams echoed. A deep rumbling rose from the earth. Earthquake. Watch out. Panicked. An earthquake. For a moment, my body locked up in fear. But before I could even react, William had already grabbed me and started running. His usual lazy expression was gone, replaced by sharp focus and urgency. I felt safe. We weren't far from the campsite, so we quickly made it back. Just as I started to breathe a sigh of relief, William suddenly shoved me away. I hit the ground hard, and behind me, a massive tree crashed down. The impact shook the earth. I spun around in horror. William lay unconscious beside the fallen tree for a second. My blood ran cold. Then I scrambled toward him, my hands trembling. William! No response. Panic surged through me. I forced myself to stay calm, hoisted him onto my back, and staggered toward our friends. He was heavier than me. Every step was unsteady, but I gritted my teeth, remembering how effortlessly he had carried me before. I wouldn't let him down. Thankfully, we soon ran into his roommates. The earthquake had stopped. We rushed to the car and drove down the mountain, but the roads were jam-packed with tourist traffic that barely moved. I held William's head in my lap, heart racing. Noah tried to reassure me. Sean, it was a 5.0 magnitude. The roads aren't damaged. Rescue teams are on their way. Shut up and go clear a damn path. William's not dying today. His friends immediately jumped out to negotiate with other drivers. Just then, the boy in my arms stirred. A low groan escaped his lips. I snapped to attention. William, you're awake. Does your head still hurt? His roommates rushed back into the car. Holy damn, bro. You got hit by a tree and still survived. You're a damn legend. Amidst their chatter, William's eyes slowly opened. His gaze locked onto my worried face. I waited anxiously for him to say something. Then his brows furrowed slightly and, in a completely unfamiliar, indifferent voice, he asked, "Who are you?" What? Everyone in the car froze. I sat there completely stunned. William lost his memory after getting hit by a tree. What kind of ridiculous soap opera-level drama was this? Was it our turn for an amnesia arc now? I forgot my past and he became my boyfriend. Now he forgot me completely. My eyes instantly burned red, my nose tingling with suppressed emotions. Right then, William's expression changed before I could react. He suddenly sat up, pulled me into his arms, and wiped my tears away. Sean, how are you this easy to trick? I was joking. I'm sorry. Don't cry. I blinked in confusion. Wait, you didn't lose your memory? Nope. His tone was entirely unbothered. I was just messing with you. Messing with me? This little menace, his twisted sense of humor made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. I immediately punched him in the arm. William didn't dodge. Instead, he caught my hand and kissed it, grinning. The friends in the car let out a collective sigh of relief before breaking into exasperated scolding. I literally got on my knees to beg people to make way for us, and you were here playing romantic pranks. Congrats. You're officially locked in as a couple, but don't expect any wedding gifts from us. So we were just NPCs in your romance plot. Screw you, William. William took it all with a smile, finally pacifying them by promising to treat everyone to a massive seafood feast. Once the others left the car grumbling, it was just the two of us. The teasing smile on William's face faded. He gazed at me, expression serious. Shun, don't worry. Even if I really lost my memory, I'd still remember that you're the person I love most. I coughed awkwardly. So what did you save my contact as boyfriend to? Not exactly. William pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and showed it to me on his screen. My contact name was saved as Baby. It was simple, but the meaning was deep. The quiet, tender acknowledgement of how much he cherished me, consistent with his usual teasing, yet undeniably affectionate. William, I murmured, fingers curling around his sleeve. If I hadn't called you that day, what would you have done? William held my hand, his touch firm but unhurried. I probably wouldn't have lasted long. I'd chase after you anyway, even if I rejected you. You want it. I leaned in slightly, breathing in his familiar scent. The mix of faint laundry detergent, crushed leaves, and his own warmth. My gaze landed on a small scrape on his neck as I whispered, I fell for you at first sight, so I never would have rejected you. Then I met his eyes and spoke the words clearly. William, let's stay seriously, properly this time, with full clarity. For once. William froze. It seemed like he hadn't expected me to be the one to say it so straightforwardly. Then, in the next second, a burst of brilliance lit up his eyes, just like the very first time I ever saw him. Dazzling and breathtaking. He leaned down and kissed me, gentle, cherishing, and with quiet certainty, he murmured, "Hello, I really am your boyfriend now." Extras, William's POV. Yes, this patient has suffered memory loss. I stared at the doctor's moving lips, but all I heard in my mind was the celebratory tune of "Good Luck Has Come." Sean lost his memory, and for some unbelievable reason, he thought I was his boyfriend. This was a blessing in disguise. For a long moment, I couldn't calm down. Finally, when I turned to glance at Sean, I saw him staring at his phone, smiling softly. His rounded eyes, his smile, made my heart lurch. "What's making you so happy?" I asked. He blushed, then shyly handed me his phone. "William, I have a lot of photos of you." How do I even describe the shock I felt in that moment? I thought maybe he just called the wrong number. But all those secretly taken photos, there was only one possible explanation. He liked me too. Amazing. The person I loved actually liked me back. But this was happiness I stole, and I always feared losing it. I didn't expect that day to come so soon, Sean remembered. I was terrified he would push me away, but he didn't. He was just awkwardly flustered. That was enough. If I had to fight to keep him, I would. I'm never letting go.